Bros and Balance, embracing life, one convo at a time. I'm Gibrann, and welcome to the podcast where we dive into the strength of open dialogue among friends. Join us as we explore life's challenges and occasionally bring in guest speakers for candid conversations. Here, guys can be authentic, unfiltered, and free from judgment.
My name is Miguel. Welcome, gentlemen, to a space where we encourage open, honest conversations about life's challenges, triumphs, and everything in between.
My name is Robert. Together we'll explore a wide range of topics from relationships and personal development to career challenges and mental well-being.
Hello, guys. Welcome.
Live.
How are ya?
Doing good.
Welcome back. Here we are. Still doing this. Episode 4.
Episode 4, you guys.
Welcome, everybody watching us at home or wherever you guys are listening from. Thank you. Welcome. But yeah, what's new? How's everything going?
I mean, everything's been going good, I guess.
Wait. I want to do a shout out.
Do it.
This guy had a birthday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, man.
Happy birthday. And here's a birthday coming up
Yes.
in the next few days. So
Yeah, happy birthday, dude.
yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Welcome to the late 30s.
We celebrated by having some cake. Middle age. In at work with the pool in the pool room.
Shout out to my mother-in-law, Ophelia.
Yeah, gracias,
sure.
Nina.
Always
She
hooking
hooked
it
it
up.
Oh man, that cake was so good.
Always-
You're
always
Dominican
does.
cake. You're 35 then.
Bizcocho. Yeah, I'm 35.
Nice.
I'm middle age, man.
Are you gonna hit a midlife crisis?
Maybe
I was just
coming
texting.
soon.
Yeah, that's probably gonna
Coming
happen to me.
Next episode, midlife
about to buy a
crisis.
motorcycle.
We'll be talking about that eventually.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my birthday's Saturday.
You're
Trying
gonna
to
be
play-
what?
Oh,
Trying to play some golf. I'm gonna be 36,
36. Man, I'm gonna be
I hope.
37.
I think.
dag. So it's 35, 36, 37.
I'm so old.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
And then snowboarding season starts up in
Dude.
9 days.
Excited.
Saturday.
First
Yeah.
time.
I'm already gonna try to make that
It's
happen.
gonna be so fun.
Gonna let you guys know if I get injured.
No, you just take it easy on the baby hill, dude.
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been squatting. Been doing my squats.
We've been doing the squat challenge.
We've been having a squad challenge at work where one of us will just put in our work chat and it says squat o'clock.
Squat o'clock.
And then we drop whatever we're doing. Do
We
some
just drop
squats.
it.
Drop it like it's hot.
Everybody's looking at us like, what are those
What's
guys
happening?
doing?
They just see our heads going up and down.
Up and down.
That's been good though. I and to talk a little bit about working out. I've been consistently working out for like a whole month, 2 months, man, and I've lost some weight, which I'm really happy about. And I
Nice.
feel a little bit stronger too. So
You
Nice.
bike a lot.
I do stationary bike, but I just transitioned this week to do some. Do you guys know T25? Sean T?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I started doing
that's,
again.
That's hardcore.
It is, bro.
Like, woo.
It
I
is.
remember
about that.
those. Oh, like you'll sweat.
I haven't heard of
The
that. but-
hit high interval intense or high intensity
sprinting?
interval training. It's cardio, but you're like bouncing, you're
Stationary.
jumping, you're using weights.
Okay.
You're squatting, you're doing burpees, like anything you can think of, like all in one spot
Dude, I
for
hate
20
burpees.
minutes, 25 minutes,
You know what I like doing though?
Oh.
Sprinting.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just straight.
Like
Just
sprint
go
as
for a
fast
sprint.
as you can,
Uh-huh.
and then doing that over and over.
Just like quick.
Do you
like,
do uphill?
quick sprints?
Sprint
I mean, I would if I had an uphill. I mean, I could probably do it. There's an uphill around my house,
Yeah,
but I just do it at a park.
those are good
hard.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good too.
I remember when I used to play soccer in high school. I mean, this is back in the days when my legs had some muscles. They would make us do piggyback rides up the
Yeah.
hill.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Like, and then
That's
you
a
would carry,
workout.
carry the one guy on your back and run all the way up, and then
Ooh.
drop him off at the top. Both run down, and then you get on
And
top of that
switch.
guy.
Dag.
It was dude. I would be puking at the end of those trainings.
Dag, that sounds like fun.
That's a good workout though.
Oh,
I bet you were in
absolutely.
a ton of shape, like awesome shape back then too.
No, I
You weren't?
wasn't. No,
Oh
my
my
legs
gosh.
were. I've never been in great shape. Like I've never had the 6-pack or the big muscles, but you know, it's okay.
Neither have I. I've never had like a 6-pack. I don't think I've had that. Somebody said it's like genetics, like you can't really get that.
I heard it. I heard that too.
I don't know how
Hmm.
true that is.
No
though.
wonder.
But nobody in my
Maybe.
family has a six pack. So
Yeah, I'm like, that makes sense. My dad doesn't have a 6-pack.
Neither
My
does
grandpa
my
never had a
pops.
6-pack. We've all had
The
this
only
little
one
pouch.
I
actually-
could probably
is
grow
my
a
uncle.
mullet though.
my uncle's had a six pack. But I think it has to do with diet too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like
No, the diet's the biggest thing.
biggest thing,
Yeah.
bro.
it's hard. What? And I know we got an episode to get into, but what's one food you guys feel like you can't get rid of?
I have an addiction.
I mean, I don't know. Like, are you saying like a bad food or just any
Yeah,
food?
yeah. Like, what's one food
'Cause-
that you feel like you cannot live without?
For me, it's tacos.
Tacos. What about you?
I don't think it's not a food, but there's something that I always have to have, and it's like I feel guilty about it because but dude, I always, if I go to the store, I always buy me a big old jug of lemonade, and I always have to have lemonade at the house. Like,
Oh, really?
I love
regular
lemonade. Just lemonade.
Ah,
Like, and it's I know it's so much sugar, and like I go through that whole thing by myself in a week.
Bro, I like making my own lemonade.
That's good too.
It's better make it sweet though, but
Yeah,
making it
exactly.
out of
You have
fresh
an-
limes,
Cool.
Do you have your own tree?
lemonade, huh?
Do you have your own tree? Like a
No.
lime
No,
tree?
No,
they
no.
don't grow in Utah.
Oh, they don't?
Mm-mm.
No, because I think it has to be
Because of the
like
weather.
humid or
Yeah.
Oh, tropical.
snap.
That's why limes are
You
so
just blew my
expensive here.
mind.
yeah. You gotta go to Mexico and get some limes.
Or California.
Cali, bro.
California.
Wow. We had an orange tree and a lemon tree in our backyard.
In California.
Yeah.
That's pretty
That's
good.
awesome.
Pretty good.
And
There's
I hear
nothing better than that.
avocados
I know
And
avocado
figs. We had a
trees.
big old fig
Oh,
tree too.
figs.
Yeah.
I love figs.
Yeah.
What are
Damn,
figs?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What are figs?
What are figs?
Egos.
Huh?
Egos is how you say it in Spanish.
I have no idea.
We'll put a picture up of a fig.
Please let us know what you guys think of a fig, because I have no clue.
It's just like the sweet.
Those grow out here.
Okay.
I have a fig tree in the back, but it never grows. It's still little.
Let us
Yeah,
know
you're
what
right.
your guys'
I've seen them.
guilty pleasures are that
In the chat
can't
or in the
you can't
comment
live
section.
without.
Yes. For me, it's pizza. Like, I just love pizza. I can't. All sorts of pizza. I'm a big fan of like just meat lover pizza, even specialty style pizzas. There's a spot that we went to in downtown that I want to take you guys to.
Nice. Which
Oh,
one?
and
What's it called? Wait,
It's-
never mind.
That's why I didn't say it. But yeah, they make specialty deep dish
Ooh,
pizzas,
Okay.
and they put like all sorts of topping on top. And I think I had like a pulled pork barbecue deep dish pizza.
Damn.
So good.
I love pizza. I also love hamburgers.
Well, I gotta make you guys my pizza.
Yeah, still,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, still,
Yes.
and I make a good meat lovers pizza.
There we go.
Yes.
So now I know.
We gotta try that, man.
Oh,
Just
man,
to
I can't
remind
wait.
everybody, we're still doing the giveaway. We're
Yes.
we're on our way. We're halfway to our 100 subscribers. So thank you, everyone. But halfway there, few more, and we'll be doing that giveaway. So don't forget, share with your friends,
Yeah,
with your
if-
peeps.
Definitely. If you find some value, share it with somebody. Even as the episodes go on, if something triggers a thought of somebody and you think that they could benefit from that episode, I think it'd be a good idea to share. And and we've already heard, and we've said this before, but we've heard some positive feedback of people saying that they enjoy it and they get something from it.
Yeah.
And
And keep the feedback coming, because we've heard all sorts of feedback, and you guys have come up with great ideas for us to get better little by little. So we really appreciate it. Just keep letting us know what you guys think we can do, should do, to make this better, because this is for you guys at the end of the day. So we want you guys to enjoy it.
Yeah, we appreciate all the engagement we've had in the comment section. That's been awesome, and reconnecting with old friends and all that. So
Yeah.
it's really cool to be able to do that through this.
I want to ask you guys on that before we jump into our subject. Sorry. So last episode we talked about, reconnecting with an old friend, and you guys don't have to share, but like, did you guys reconnect with anybody? I can share from my end. Like, I haven't, but it was funny because after that episode, an old friend of mine sent me a friend request, like somebody that I have not talked to in like many years, that I'm like, he probably doesn't even remember me. So that was really interesting. So yeah, I think something, I don't know what happened, but yeah, maybe it was because of the episode.
maybe
Who knows?
that's cool.
What's crazy though that you said that, and it reminded me that right after that episode, I found out that my friend got in a car accident.
Shoot.
One of the friends that I had in mind when I was talking,
Really?
Mm.
and I just felt like horrible and sad, and I heard the news through his sister, so for me it was like a shock that happened, and right after that episode, but he's doing better. He's at home now. He's
That's good.
recovering. He totaled his car, but I thank God nothing else happened, nothing worse. Nobody died from anything. So
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
yeah, but this is a scary thing, and that again goes back to the point that we made last time. Connect with your friends. You never know. Life could be short and be taken away at any moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you? Any?
I don't think that anybody like kind of came my way that maybe from my past or like an old friend or something like that. But like I said, I try to do my best to connect with people, and I've made friends out here that will reach out. And if somebody calls me and I missed their call, I just tried my best to reach out, like, to call them back, or to shoot them a text like, yo, like, I missed your call. So sorry. I'll text you or I'll call you back.
Yeah.
And I give them a time frame as to when we can connect. And I feel like I've gotten pretty good at doing that. Whether even if it's just a 5-minute call, you know, just check in. What's up? How you doing?
Just a
How's your
text,
day?
like something.
I'm trying to get better at that.
We had one of our listeners. Thank you for sharing your story. You know, no names, but she shared her story about that with us. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, pretty much the same thing. You know, there was a friend of hers that she had not talked to forever, that was there for her hard parts of her life, and then, you know, unfortunately she ended up passing away. But she was able to reconnect with her right before that happened, and you know, that meant a lot to her. So yeah, I mean, we all have somebody that we can think of like that, I'm sure. So yeah, keep sharing your guys' stories, you know, whatever you guys want us. Also, if you guys want us to talk about something specific, you know, ask us questions, or there's a topic that you're like, okay, you know, you guys should tackle this for what X, Y, or Z reason, whatever, let us know. You know, we're happy to listen to all the suggestions.
Awesome.
All right, well, let's do it. I think this topic and the topic for this episode is going to be pretty heavy, and it could be emotional. And I feel like at times, as we've gone through our podcasts and our episodes, we become emotional with the things that we talk about. But this one is a good one, and this topic today is about forgiveness. So let me ask the both of you: when you think about forgiveness, what comes to mind? What do you guys think about forgiveness?
You want to go first?
You go ahead. You take a shot at it.
All right. So forgiveness, that's a huge word, and it carries a lot of weight and a lot of emotions. And I'm pretty sure you guys can probably agree, you know, it's a word that gets taken for granted a lot of the times, I feel like. And for whatever reason, you know, it doesn't matter. But forgiveness to me is like, what I think of forgiveness is, so I have a whole new point of view on forgiveness. Before, like, you know, many years ago, if you would have asked me a few years ago, like, what does forgiveness mean to you, I probably would have said, like, forgiving somebody for whatever actions they might have had towards me, or towards a loved one, or, you know, whatever had impacted me, forgiving them. But now, as I've gotten older and experienced more things, forgiveness to me is more like, yeah, you're forgiving that person, but instead of doing it for them, you're doing it for you. Because if you don't forgive somebody, like, let's say you and I get, I don't know, you know, we have some beef, and then we stop talking, and it's like, nah, I don't want to forgive Gibrann anymore because whatever. But then at the same time, I'm carrying that weight because I'm always thinking in the back of my head, like, what could have happened if I would have just let my ego down, you know, let my pride down, and just like had a conversation with him like adults. And now it's like, I'm carrying that weight. I'm carrying those emotions, you know, and it's affecting your mental health as well, whether you want it or not. It could be direct or indirect, but now it's like, the way I see it is like, no, I have to do it for me, because I don't want to be doing, you know, I don't want to be living with that. So forgiveness doesn't mean that you forget what happened. It doesn't mean that you have to be like, everything's okay and, you know, we're good to go on everything. But no, like, forgiveness to me is like, you have to be yourself. You have to give yourself that peace of mind.
Yeah.
And you forgive that person. And sure, you might not forget what happened, and your friendship might not ever be the same anymore, whatever, but you are at least living in peace, you know, with yourself. Like, you forgave that person. So in essence, you forgave yourself as well, by not having to rethink those things, not having to keep bringing yourself down, or bringing that negative energy to yourself anymore, because you haven't forgave somebody, you know?
Would you say that, let's say you guys were beefing it, like you said, right? And you, like, this guy,
you would kick my ass.
But let's say that happened, right? What do you think? And you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what do you think happens to your body physically by not forgiving him?
That's a great question. I think that's where just like stress and anxiety and all those things are real.
Yeah.
And by not forgiving somebody, you're causing yourself stress and anxiety.
Uh-huh.
And then that's when I feel like diseases come through. Your body starts telling you, your body communicates with you. You just have to know how to listen to it.
Yeah.
Your body starts telling you like, hey, something's not okay. Like you start feeling either tired, depressed, mentally exhausted, like because you're carrying all this burden. Like,
Wow.
like don't like just let you have to let it go. Forgive the people. If there's anybody you need to forgive them. Like if obviously it's not as easy as it sounds sometimes, but don't do it for them. Do it for you. Do it for you so that you don't have to carry that weight anymore.
And the reason why I ask you, because I've heard people say that their hearts get hard, right? Obviously, the physiology of your heart, it's not like actually gonna
that makes sense.
develop like a layer of stone.
You start building walls.
But you build up a wall, you start to just, and you feel it, so that's good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
What do you think, dude?
I mean, that was like a good way to put it. Like I don't know if I ever like thought of that. And like when you asked that question, I was just kind of like, what does it do to your body? Is it
like it makes me fat? Because I'm eating all that. Yeah, because you're eating.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
upset.
Stress eating, or you don't eat, so then you lose weight.
Right.
Tremendous amount of weight.
It messes with you, man.
Bro, that's crazy.
So what would you say fear is? I mean, fear. We're talking
Forgiveness. I forgive you.
Thank you. What would you say forgiveness? Like, what do you think about when you hear that word?
When I think about forgiveness, right now, it just comes. What comes to mind is, thinking about all the people I want to forgive, but thinking about the people I've forgiven in the past,
okay.
and to your point, like seeing how much of that weight has been taken off my shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think through, like, there's been many occasions in my life where I've forgiven people, and people very really close to me. It's like people who I might have lived with, right? People that I was so like closely associated with, people who done me wrong in some way, and just being able to forgive them really just opens up that door to freedom.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And gives you that peace. The inner peace comes back.
Yeah. But I also believe that I'm do my best to try to be like Jesus, right? And Jesus, that's one of the biggest lessons he teaches, is that forgiveness and forgiving others and treat and love others like you love yourself. And that's what I think it all boils down to me. It's like we're all human. We all make mistakes. And if I ever make a mistake, I would want them to forgive me. That's one of the main reasons why I'm really easy to forgive. Because I know I'm not perfect. I know I will make mistakes. I know I've done people wrong in the past. And even till this point, I still have to find a way to forgive myself for those things. But I think about, okay, I am willing to forgive anybody. And you could, I've always hypothetically thought about the worst scenario, right? Like, what if somebody kills a family member of mine? Will I forgive them?
Or rape or something.
Or rape,
like that.
yeah.
Right.
And right now, I mean, like, it's hard to think about it. But again, to your point, like, you could really kill yourself over it if you don't.
Absolutely.
There was something that you said, and I think Jesus is the perfect example, because I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for the forgiveness that God has given me in my life. But you said something like, and I might butcher this, but the word says, there's a story about a guy. He's like, well, how many times should I forgive? And then I think the response is, well, forgive 7 times 7. Like, you just forgive over and over and over and over again. Like, you don't stop forgiving, because you do develop this thing where it changes you, man. It really does. It can change you and make you a harder person. But I love that, man. Honestly, if it wasn't for forgiveness for me, I wouldn't be the person that I am right now on both ends. Forgiving and the forgiveness that has been given to me. Because my wife and I have been through situations together where we both have forgiven each other and just move forward more than once. And man, like if it wasn't for those moments, like I don't know where the heck we would be, because of that forgiveness.
You said something right there. Sorry, to cut you off, but
No, it's all good.
you said move forward, and that's it. Like that's it. Like in order for you to be able to move forward with your life, you have to be able to forgive when somebody does you wrong. Otherwise, you're stuck back there in that same mind space, and like you're not able to move forward. Like you have to be able to forgive, and like I said, you don't have to. I forgive him, but that doesn't make everything right. It's just you have to be able to just keep it. You're doing it for you. Inner peace.
And depending on the situation, like you said, it doesn't make everything right. And if there's still work involved, because obviously, like during my addiction, I would ask for forgiveness. But if I was still using, or if I was still doing what I was doing before, then it wouldn't matter. It would cancel that out. Like you're asking for forgiveness and yet you're still drinking, or yet you're still using, or yet you're still messing up somehow. One thing that you said that really caught my attention, bro, was forgiving yourself. Have there ever been situations for either of you where you've struggled with forgiving yourself over something?
All the time, I would think.
Is there like maybe one or two situations where you feel forgiving yourself was really hard?
I feel like forgiving yourself is harder than forgiving somebody, because I feel like we're harder on ourselves for the most part. Has there been situations that I have like forgiven myself? Yes, I have. Like I've done a lot of stupid things in my life. I've done a lot of bad decisions, I guess, that have affected myself, family members, loved ones, others. It doesn't matter who, but like I've done a lot, and I know I've been forgiven by them, but sometimes, like you say, like, yeah, you don't forgive yourself, and then you still carry that burden as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I can't like think of a specific situation. I can think of a lot, but like there has been definitely, a time or two that have been really bad, that I've done, like, I would say really bad things, or said really bad things to somebody, or treated somebody like crap, just because I thought I was right, or, whatever. And I carried that for a long time. I carried that for a long time, and it just kept spiraling. Like if you don't forgive yourself, you're carrying it, you're still thinking about it, and then that's attracting that same kind of energy back. So then you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over. Maybe not as bad, but in the same essence. So yeah, I mean, I would say I can say that I have forgiven myself for a lot of my mistakes. Not everything, not all of them. There's still a lot of things I need to work on, but yeah, I mean, I think we all have them. I just, I don't know. I can't think of like an exact one, like, oh yeah, this time, but yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
I mean, for me, I struggle with forgiving myself, especially after all the things I've done to someone that I truly love. But I see that there's hope, and I feel grateful that the person that I love has done their best to try to forgive me. Although sometimes it's hard to forgive, and it takes a healing process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's something I need to learn and be able to deal with. And that's one of the reasons why I'm seeking therapy, is so that I could, keep moving on, keep moving forward, like you guys were saying, but at the same time, no, there is a healing process to this, and I can't rush that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that for me, I struggle with in forgiving myself, because it's a constant reminder at some points of all the things I've done. And it kind of, it gets to the point where sometimes you reopen that wound and throw salt on it. Right. And it burns, and it just reminds me. So I start from square one again. And for me, that's my struggle.
Can I ask you, you mentioned therapy, and this is why I want to ask you this question. How many times have you had therapy, like recently?
Recently, I would say in the last month or two, I've probably been to therapy about 10 times.
Within that time frame, and those 10 times, this is really, I'm going to ask this question because I feel like this could possibly help somebody. Are there any tools that help you, or that have been advised to you to help you with that self, not being able to forgive yourself?
Well, to be 100% completely honest, I don't think we've tapped too much into it,
Okay.
but there is a theory that I was taught about how emotions work and I wish I could pull up my phone, but it's using it to record. But it really just dives into like your reactive state
Okay.
and then your passive state. And then when you get reactive, how that builds up your emotions. And so there's certain triggers that get you to those points in that phase. For me, what I understood from the theory is that at times where things get difficult and it leads me to get to a depressive state, I need to figure out how to balance that back to a normal, passive state.
Right.
Or if I get too angry, because what happens too is that we put up a defense mechanism. And when things get stressful, maybe you put up that defense mechanism and it's an anger,
Right.
and emotional anger.
Yeah.
And that then becomes a reactive emotion. So then I'm reacting and getting mad easily for things because that's where I'm at mentally and emotionally. So just figuring out like these emotions and knowing how to manage them is what I've been currently working on. Then I think I'm still trying to figure out who the right therapist is for me right now. Right now I'm seeing this guy and he's super weird. Bro, he's super weird. Like he looks at me like
Sorry if you're watching this.
He's looking at me like he's lost in his thoughts. And I'm here spewing my life out to him.
Does he just look like he's not paying attention to you? Or what?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. That's the thing. He's writing things down.
How do I help this guy?
Is this virtually or in person?
This is in person.
Okay.
Okay.
So even in front of you, he's kind of like,
yeah,
got a
he
blank
looks like
stare.
he's spaced out.
Oh shoot! Bro.
See, but that's
But he's
that's
the one
okay.
he's the one who told me the theory, and then it helped.
Okay.
And he's like, I hope this
He's
helps.
probably in
And then,
deep thought.
and then he's probably thinking like, is this guy gonna stay with me? Like, is he gonna keep seeing me? I don't know what they're
shoot.
thinking, but
That's interesting.
Not every therapist is the right therapist for
yeah,
you.
right,
You're
you
not
know?
gonna
And
vibe with everybody.
Right.
yeah, and that's the thing. You got to find a therapist that's perfect for you, that
Right.
fits,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it fits to your
But
personality.
continue to be honest, regardless, because I think that they've got enough
Yeah.
education and understanding.
You know what's funny though is that I told him the most craziest story, and I got no reaction out of him. I was like, "Yo, dude, like, are you dead inside?"
Now you got to remember though, he's probably heard it all.
I know that's the thing too. Is like he's
So he's
probably
like, "Oh, that's nothing."
synthesizing.
I've heard worse.
He's like, dude,
Yeah,
you're okay.
I was like, okay,
You're not too bad, dude.
So I guess that I don't know. It made me feel like safe to keep going with it, and I kept
Okay,
telling him
yeah.
the craziest things ever, and it's just like,
Well, that's good.
okay, and it was like, all right, fine, but no, like to your point, I haven't gotten to the point where we talk about specifically that
Yeah,
and
like tools on how to help you with.
yeah. So what I did
Forgiving
have
yourself.
with my other therapist, which was a lady, which also she was very interesting.
Yeah,
It's like I would say something and she would cut right in between and mention, like, talk over me and say some things that like made sense, but really wasn't really what I wanted to convey.
Mm-hmm.
So like she would like cut me off so that she can complete my story for me. And it's like, no, just listen to me. Hold up, give me a moment. But she was really nice though, and she helped me a lot with like what to do in a depressive, suicidal thought moment.
yeah,
And like, my resources and all that. So that really helped.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the main reasons why I started going back to the gym, started doing more sports, and just really started focusing more on myself and trying to avoid getting into that dark place.
yeah.
But yeah, that's so far how it's been. I shared a lot of the first therapy appointments is like they're just listening to you and you just
Right.
giving them all
Sure.
the
Yeah,
information.
trying to
Getting to
gauge
know you.
and understand.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like your family dynamics and how you grew up and culture played a role in forgiving? Because from if I can recall it growing up, and mom, if you're listening, dad, if you're listening, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there have been situations in our lives where they'll say, "Oh, estoy enojada con esta tía," or "estoy enojada con esta persona. I'm mad at this person because they did XYZ."
Right.
And then it just became something that you take on,
Yeah.
and you're just like, "Well, I guess I'm mad at that uncle too." you know, or like yeah, they are
Even
kind
though
of
they
weird.
didn't do anything to you.
Yeah. Like, maybe I should be upset at them, you know, and but growing up, maybe forgiveness could have helped a relationship
Mm-hmm.
with a family member, with an aunt, with a cousin, with whoever. Did you guys ever experience anything like that? I feel like that was not a constant thing, but I feel like it came up a lot.
I think so. I can't pinpoint it to specific situation again, but like I'm sure there was times that my mom was mad at somebody for whatever reason. So then I would be mad at their kids.
Yeah.
You know, like my friends. You know, if they had kids our age or whatever because of whatever, or you know, friends as well. Like let's say like Gibrann's mad at you for whatever reason, and it's like, well, I can't hang out with Robert anymore because I'm friends with Gibrann, but I'm like, but then I'm like, you're stuck in the middle, and that happens a lot. I feel like you know, and I get it. You're trying to show your loyalty to either your family, your friends, whoever whoever it is, but at the same time, to me, that's not okay because you're carrying somebody else's burden. You're carrying somebody else's whatever, corajes, angriness towards somebody, resentment. Yes, thank you. That doesn't belong to you. Like that's not yours. Like just because Gibrann's mad at Robert, I'm friends with both. Like I'm still gonna be friends with both of you guys. You know, like don't come to the same party if you guys don't want, but you're both invited. But you know, it's like that's on you guys. But like, why do we have to carry somebody else's blames or resent somebody for something that they haven't even done to us? It does happen. It happens a lot. I feel like everybody, most people would probably be able to relate to that, but I don't know. What do you think, Gibrann?
Bro, oh my gosh, man, all these topics are hitting me hard right now.
This one's for Gibrann.
When I went to go see a psychologist to get diagnosed and see like what problems I have, because I needed to realize that there may be some underlining issues that I've been dealing with my whole life that I've never really paid mind to, because it's just like I try to disregard them, like we talked about in the last episode, right? And so I went and got diagnosed, and I think I was like mild depression or something like that, but one of the things that they mentioned was detachment disorder, and that may have come from my parents separating and getting divorced when I was around 11 years old, or 14 years old. And during that time, man, it was the hardest moment in my life, just because my parents separated, and then to your point, like my mom would, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth. My mom will feel that resentment towards my dad, and because my dad was already with somebody else and starting a new life, and kind of just left us, and so that opened the door for my mom to talk negatively about my dad, and until there was a certain point in my life where I felt like that towards him.
Yeah.
And he always demonstrated love to me. Like he would always, reach out to me. He would always, when he was around, he would show me love. Like, I've seen him in the worst stages of his life, and seen him in worst scenarios, like real life scenarios that I won't ever erase from my mind.
Right.
But even so, I forgave him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's the one to blame for divorcing or separating. Like it's like you said, it's hard to pick a side, and you're kind of stuck in the middle.
You shouldn't pick a side. Like at the end of the day, it's not your divorce.
But it's so hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Kid,
it is hard.
Bro, it's so hard,
right,
to not pick a side.
And you said it like, and sometimes I'm not a parent, but I can just from things I've seen or whatever. Sometimes unwillingly or not on purpose, when you're going through a divorce or a separation, you're putting your kids through that as well without even noticing what kind of damage you could be doing to them. Like, I mean, I feel like, yeah, if you're getting divorced from your wife or whatever, and you have kids, like, yeah, that's fine. You guys' relationship didn't work, but don't ruin the relationship of your kid for their other parent.
If anything, you should strengthen that. I agree, because it's like that's already a trauma to have to separate.
They already have to deal with it.
And a lot of kids see the perfect family picture, right? You have your dad, your mom in the household, and then not have that, and then to be told that your dad's a piece of shit, and then then your dad's telling you the same thing on the other side.
Mhm.
Because it's like, again, and like I'm in the middle, and now I kind of feel like I know both sides, but not 100% because I wasn't there.
Correct.
I like mentally I was a little kid, but now that I'm grown up, and now that maybe other scenarios have come up where I start to see my mom's behaviors and notice those things, and notice maybe my mom was like that with my dad or whatnot, and maybe my mom was traumatized as a kid too growing up, and it's just generational, right? We talked about that the other time. I don't want to blame anyone. So I've forgiven both sides at this point.
Good.
They're both broken people,
Right.
right? And that's the way that I try to look at that. Is they're both broken. They were both. Now as an adult, you can take a step back and start to really understand that they're both just broken. You know, and there was a time that my wife and I split up, and my little one, well, my oldest, he was our little one at that time, and I did my very best not to talk shit. And it's not easy because you're hurt, you're upset, but you control that. You know, your mom's your mom. Your mom loves you. She's a good mom.
Mm-hmm.
She's taking care of you. So when you're not with me, love on your mom.
Right.
You know, that's it. But it's not easy, man.
No, it's not.
One of the questions that I want to ask you guys to kind of gauge this too is, what do you think is harder, to ask for forgiveness or to forgive someone? What would you say is harder?
I mean, I think it's easy to ask for forgiveness.
Okay.
It's hard to forgive someone because, and I could see, that's a great question though, because it could be actually 50-50, right? Depending on who is the person you're asking forgiveness from.
Sure, yeah, that plays a huge role in that.
Who is the person that you're forgiven to if they did you like really wrong, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I would say it's 50-50. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer.
I don't think there is.
I don't think there is.
I think I love
But
that
for
you
me,
said
it's
that
easier to forgive someone.
and it also depends on the person.
Or ask for forgiveness. Sorry.
Yeah, it also depends on your relationship.
See, to me, it's the opposite. I think to me, it's harder to ask for forgiveness because I'm too hard on myself, and I feel sometimes, and you know, people gonna testify to this, but like sometimes I'm just like way too hard on myself, way harder than I should be. If I let somebody down, that I don't feel like I deserve forgiveness.
Wow,
you know?
yeah.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? It's like I don't deserve it. I fucked up. Like I did something really bad, and I completely understand if they don't want to forgive me. But to me, forgiving somebody was not very easy either.
Mhm.
Like that's another, that it's hard. But like I said earlier, now that I've come to the realization that forgiving somebody is not about them, it's about me. It's a little bit easier for me to forgive people. You know, I forgive you. I'll just move on, and that's it. You know, that doesn't mean, oh yeah, we're gonna pick
We'll
up
be
right
best
where we left
buddies
off.
and
No,
hold
like
hands
I'm forgiving you so that I can move on.
Correct.
I've heard somebody say you forgive people from a distance.
Exactly.
You just
Yeah.
keep your space.
Yeah,
but
and
you
that's
forgive
fine
them.
because you're forgiving them for you to keep your peace of mind. Like, you know, like I said earlier. But I don't know. What do you think? What about you?
I like the responses that both of you have given already, because I feel like it depends on the relationship between, but asking for forgiveness is not easy. For me, it has not been easy. It's been very difficult. But every time that I've asked for forgiveness from my wife or somebody very, very close, for the most part, I've been met with grace.
Mm-hmm.
I've been met with love. I've been met with, okay, you know, I forgive you. Let's now what? Right.
Right.
Let's figure out what to
Right.
do at this point. Or you need to get better. Or you know, it's time for you to work and figure out what's happening. Why is this happening? It just really depends, I think, on the situation. But it's either way, it's heavy. Either way, it can
Right.
be hard. So, and we were touching a little bit on relationships and we talked about divorce and stuff like that. And we'll talk about this in later episodes. We'll dive into relationships, and we'll dive into love, and we'll dive into pain that love brings as well. So definitely stay tuned for that. But is there anything else that maybe is coming to your guys' mind as we're talking about forgiveness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there was one point that you made earlier that I wanted to add on to, is that in being able to forgive someone you care about, and say in this case your partner, like for example, I think that helps just to build a relationship stronger and build, maybe you'll start from ground zero and square one, but at least you could still build upon that, and maybe it'd be even stronger because you know what you did wrong, and you know what you need to work on yourself, and many people sometimes just throw in the towel, right? And they give up and they don't even try to build off of that, and they move on. Which is another form of being able to forgive yourself and forgive them, and take it elsewhere. But I think in those who do struggle, because I know every relationship struggles. I've learned myself, and I don't know, maybe there is that perfect relationship out there, and we'll talk about that in a different episode. But I do want to just give a shout out to all those parents and who have stuck it out together, who have forgiven each other over and over and over and over again, and still push forward and do their best to make each other happy.
All right.
I love that you did that, by the way.
Yeah, because there's not many people who do that.
Yeah.
Now the easiest thing is to cop out and just move on, get divorced, start again fresh somewhere else.
I love that because those have been my parents. Like, they've been through all sorts of shit, bro. And I've seen them get separated. I've seen them get back together. I've seen them come to Christ. I've seen them, like, my parents they're sticking it out, man. And they've decided to stick it out, and regardless of all the drama that they've been through. And it's a beautiful thing to see, man. It really is.
Yeah.
When people just like, you know what, we're going to put all that crap aside and we're just going to keep loving
It's
on
hard.
each other. But it takes work. Man.
Yeah. Like those, like you ask any couple that has been, usually an older couple, like any couple that's been married for like 40, 50 years, like you ask them, like, what's the secret? And the biggest thing they say is communication, which, comes with, kind of ties into this subject. Like, you have to communicate, like, and you have to be willing to receive the feedback and not react to it in a negative way. And you have to be able to forgive and be forgiven.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't understand, I guess you could say, or didn't really realize before, was I would think that I had forgiven somebody for something, I'd be like, oh yeah, I already forgave you, like, no worries, or I would be talking to Hera or to anybody, and I'd be like, I already forgave that, like I've forgiven them for that. And then she would say, okay, but if you've forgiven them for that, why are you still mad about it? Like, why does it still bother you? You know, if you've forgiven them, then it shouldn't bother you. You should be okay to move on from it. And there's a lot of truth to that, because once I started realizing that and thinking it that way, I'm like, okay, there was maybe things that I had not forgiven, maybe I thought I was, just to be like, yeah, I forgive it. I forgave them for whatever, but I was still, in the back of my head, it was still, I hadn't, it was still bothering me. It was still like, I would bring it up. Like, and it could be it could be in a relationship. It can be in a friendship. Like, you get mad at each other and you start fighting, and then you bring up the past. If you start bringing up the past, that doesn't mean you forgave anybody, because why are you digging in the past if you already forgave? If you forgave, that means you're ready to move on. So once you're ready to move on,
you're on to something,
right? Then if you're still holding on to that little bit of a grudge, you haven't forgiven them. Like, I don't think so. That's just my opinion on it. But like, once you forgive 100%, that's when you're able to release, and that's when you're able to move on. And then that's when you can actually continue your life moving forward. Exactly.
I don't think I've forgiven my mom for giving away our Rottweiler.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I started thinking about those things. It's like, and every time I throw it at my mom's face. It's like, one time she gave away my cats. Well, she didn't give them away. She threw them out in the street.
Oh my God!
Was she allergic to cats?
No,
she didn't even look for a family.
I was a little kid, and I didn't take care of them. I wasn't the one cleaning their poop. I wasn't the one buying their food. So I get why.
You're lucky she didn't throw you out.
As an adult, you understand.
Right.
But when you're a kid, like, to this day, I bring up to my mom. I had my Rottweiler's dog. Her name was Sweetie.
Right.
And I'm like, Mom, I hate the fact that you gave away Sweetie. And like, I've been telling the kids and my wife, like, I'm about to get another Rottweiler just to make up for that,
If anybody
But-
wants to donate a Rottweiler to
Oh, I don't know
Robert.
about that. We'll talk. We'll talk.
But one thing I did want to touch on when you gave your answer about which one is easier, asking for forgiveness or forgiving someone, you mentioned that it's hard for you to forgive yourself, or when asking for forgiveness, it's hard for you to forgive yourself to even ask for forgiveness. And I think there's also the opposite to that, and then that's like you're too prideful to even ask for forgiveness.
Right.
Maybe you don't even see what you did wrong, or you don't want to see that you did something wrong, and you start to pinpoint and blame on
That's
someone
true.
else or the same person, like, oh, you caused me to do this to you or something like that.
You don't own it.
Gosh.
You don't own it, right?
Yeah.
And that's where ego and
Well, that's an
pride
easy cop
fall.
out too.
Super
Right.
easy.
Yeah.
I've been very
All of us have done
good
it.
at doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you start, like, I know I've done this. I start to distort reality and then just twist things around for my benefit. And so that's one thing that we didn't touch on, but I think plays its part into asking for forgiveness and
No,
taking that
absolutely.
first step. And I think too, like, you know, knowing that it's gonna help you, knowing that it's gonna let that weight off your shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
knowing it's gonna set you free, that should be your motivator to ask for forgiveness,
Mhm.
because it's just gonna make everything better overall. And whether or not you think you need it, I think it all starts with that first step.
Yeah.
But if not, if you're the person who was hurt in the situation, maybe too it requires for you to step up and let the person know, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're stuck in their thing,
Right.
but you also need to forgive them, right? So being the one to step up to the plate and say, hey, I forgive you for this, and that.
And that could even heal somebody. Like you said, maybe they're stuck in their own thing.
I was gonna ask that.
That can heal that person.
Yeah.
And then they'll let go of all that guilt,
Right.
all that shame. Like
You're freeing two of
and
you.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, like, when you forgive somebody, like, you know, when whoever you forgave, how did you feel about it? Like after you did it, like you know, like we said earlier, you probably felt lighter.
Free.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I didn't have a grudge towards that person
Right.
or resent to that person.
Yeah.
And the one example I give is just with that, the one I gave already with my mom and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I forgave both of them, but I also saw my mom too over the years forgave my dad,
Mhm.
and she came to that realization, like, you know, it is what it is, and I forgive him, and you know, I felt like she knew that that was the right way to way to go, being
Yeah.
that she's Christian and she knows that that's an important part in her spiritual journey.
Right. Right.
I want to, as we're getting kind of ready to close this up, I want to kind of touch on, like, it's never going to be perfect. We're human. We get hurt. We deal with all sorts of emotion. Forgiving people is not easy. There may be somebody that you're thinking about that you may need to either forgive or ask for forgiveness about sometimes. And so I've gone through the 12 steps of recovery. And in that is one of those steps is to make amends with people that you've
Mhm.
harmed in your life. And it's not always a good idea to try to make amends with certain people.
Right.
Right. Like sometimes you have that's where that forgiving yourself comes into play, because it's not a good idea to reach out to certain people that you've really hurt
Mm-hmm.
in the past with all the junk you've done, and just kind of like, you know what, I gotta let this go. I gotta give this up to God. I hurt that person, but that's not who I am anymore. So I'm just gonna let it go.
Right.
Right. Because you may cause more damage. You may rip off a band-aid that you don't need to rip off
agree.
anymore. Right. So any final thoughts, boys?
I don't know. I
Rose.
guess I just want to say, like you said it, like we're humans. Like everybody, I don't know. I feel good saying everybody because I have not met a human that is perfect 100%. And everybody screws up. We all screw up. Life is hard. As you get older and as life throws more stuff at you, whether it's personal, work, family, you know, anything, it's hard, and you're gonna make mistakes because a lot of the times we're not prepared on how to handle certain situations. So we screw up or they screw up, and then we end up holding a grudge against them, or they hold a grudge against us, or whatever. We have beef. The years go by, and then you're like, hey, what about remember that guy we used to work with? Oh yeah, I'm so mad at him. Like, but why? Why are you mad at him? And then you don't even remember why you guys are mad.
Yeah,
like
let it go.
that just means you're carrying something that's for nothing. Like you're carrying this weight for nothing. And one thing I was gonna say, sometimes, like, you guys are, you guys mentioned God, and like that's what has helped you and all that. I'm not religious as maybe as I should be, but I'm big on like energies, and I've always said like I'm like, I can feel energies, or not like I'm a psychic or anything. Like, don't get me wrong.
Walter Mercado.
I'm not Walter.
Look him up. Look him up.
No, but like sometimes you wake up in the mornings, and it happens to me. I don't want to say often, but it has happened to me often when I'm going through some shit, that you wake up and you just feel like, as soon as you wake up, you're already feeling drained.
Yeah.
You feel heavy. You feel like unmotivated, and it's because you're carrying on to something. So you just have to like start thinking to yourself, okay, what is causing this? And if it's something or somebody, like try to find a way to forgive it or forgive them. If it's yourself, then like you said, make amends with whoever it is you hurt, or or like, I don't know, like sometimes, like I've told Gibrann, I'm pretty sure in the past, like I felt like, we'd be messaging or something, and then like I'm like, damn, I crossed the line. Like, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have like commented on anything like that. And then I'm carrying that for the rest of the day. Like I'm like, damn, like he's probably all mad at me. You're probably not even thinking about it. But you see the kind of example I'm trying to give is like, don't give it too much thought. Just reach out to that person and be like, hey, sorry if I offended
Clarify,
you,
clear the air.
and then get that weight off your chest. That other person is probably not even thinking about it like you are. So, and if we don't talk about it and we don't forgive, or we don't reach out to try to forgive, you're going to continue to carry it on. And it just piles up on your little, I picture there's like a little cup in my chest somewhere where all my crap falls in, and it just keeps piling up. And then as soon as it reaches the top, then you explode.
Yeah.
And then you explode on somebody that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And then they're carrying somebody else's mess up, because you put it on them. Like, don't do that. It's easier to just reach out to that person, try to make amends. If they're there for it and hear you out, great. If not, then you tried, you gave your best, and forgive yourself and move on. So
that's good.
I like that. That's my thoughts. And again, I'm not no therapist, psychic, or anything. So
we are not licensed.
Right. If not everybody has to agree with the way we think, but we're just being real.
Yeah.
Quick shout outs. And you don't have to give their names, but is there anybody in your life that's a good example of someone who can forgive?
Oh yeah.
And
somebody that we can forgive?
No, someone in your life
That's
who's a good example that is always forgivable.
Okay, like somebody
that's good at giving forgiveness. You mean? Yeah. For me, it's my wife, dude. She's met me with grace, time after time after time after time after time, just back to back, man. So that's the person that.
How about you?
I would say, I mean, I could say there's probably a few people, but yeah, for me, it's definitely also, my fiance. She puts up with a lot of crap for me, and a lot of the times I'm too hard on myself about it, and I'm not like, and I'm like, damn, I let you down, and then she's like, but like, just let it go, and then she forgives me, and like, and then walks me out of it, and like that helps a lot. So her, another one, like I would say, I've had bosses that have forgiven me for a lot of mistakes I've done. So, there's a lot of that too. But yeah, no, like personally, I would say my fiance. How about you?
I'm going to say my parent-in-laws, and they're a good example of like not getting offended easily. They're a good example of if they were offended, that they're not going to just sit around and, mope around and, wait for me to go ask them for forgiveness. They're going to keep showing love and being, there for me.
Right.
And they're great examples of that. Like, I don't think I've known and met anybody else who's not like resentful like them or not resentful like them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Heck yeah.
I can attest to that. Your mother-in-law is the sweetest woman out there. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one thing that you said there, like, they don't hold things against you, or, you know, people don't hold things against us because they try to understand us.
That's another thing, right?
And
Yeah.
it's like, you can be acting out and I can be all mad about it. And I'm sorry, I know we're closing up, but like, this just came to my head.
That's all good.
Like, we can be all mad about it. I can be all mad about it because you're acting out, and then now I'm mad about it. Now I'm fighting with you about it, and it's like, we're not getting anywhere. It's all about like trying to understand, why is that person acting like that? What caused it? You have to get to the root of it. Why are they acting like that? And then again, it comes down to talking, communication. Just communicate. Ask. It's okay to ask. Why do you feel like that? Why are you acting out? You know, what's causing it? What's wrong? And then listen, you know, instead of react. And like, don't say like, oh, it's because I feel down, and we're like, no, you're stupid. No, don't do that. Just listen and try to like empathize with them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
That's
a good
really
thing
good.
to take away, and maybe an invitation for everyone out there, is like, hey, if there's a grudge you're holding in, or if there's somebody you need to reach out to ask for forgiveness, maybe not to reopen any wounds like Robert said, but somebody that you could easily ask for that forgiveness, or just kind of touch base with them and see if there's even any harsh feelings there, do it.
Or
Take that step.
making a living amends, which is part of the 12 steps. Like, I heard a story about a guy that when he was active in his addiction would always steal from a certain gas station. He would always steal from that gas station. So he couldn't really ask for forgiveness, but now that he's sober, he only spends money at that gas station.
okay,
So now that's his way of
giving back.
and asking for that forgiveness. He only puts gas at that gas
Wow.
station now, and he just goes inside, buys drink, whatever.
Yeah,
And he's putting all his money at that gas station.
that's cool.
So even making a living amends, like maybe there's something that you can do.
I like
You
that.
know? Yeah, that's big. So
Yeah, and shoot out a message to whoever if you want, you know, like, and if you don't get one back, that's okay. Don't expect to always get a message back that, oh
Correct.
yeah, we're good. No, but at least you're at peace with yourself. You gave it your shot, and don't hold people. I don't know. Don't try not to hold grudges. You know, grudges are heavy, and it's hard not to sometimes. I get it, but try to let go. Just let go. Move on with your, you know, move on. Keep moving forward, and everything will be fine. Everything falls in place. I always say that, like, just let the pieces fall where they need to, and everything comes out okay at the end.
it does.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other closing thoughts from any of you guys?
Not necessarily on this, more of just, you know, share this with your friends and
Make sure you subscribe.
toca la campanita.
Top or
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Campanita.
Y para todos mis amores, we love you guys. We appreciate
No, for real, thank
listening
you.
to us and sharing it with your loved ones. And yeah, I think that's what we're all about.
Mm-hmm.
Just spreading love and good vibes and positive energies,
Yeah.
and
That's
really helping us self-reflect, have deep self-reflection upon ourselves. I'm telling you, like, just being a part of this podcast, that's what it's done for me, and we hope that it's the same for you, for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
Thank you guys. Peace. Oh, don't forget about the contest. Share the
Halfway there, 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers. We give a giveaway. But thank you. Peace.
See yous.
Adios.
Bye.
Stay connected with us on all your favorite social media platforms for even more Bros and Balance content. Catch us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, where we'll share exclusive behind-the-scenes moments, bonus content, and exciting updates related to health, wellness, and brotherhood. To ensure you never miss an episode or an update, make sure to subscribe and follow us at Bros and Balance. Dive deeper into the world of balance with us.